David's Faith Insulin Plant Wine is made from insulin plant extract with infusion of healthy fruit sourced from certified organic farms such as Guyabano, Dragon Fruit, and Bignay. Powerful mixture now offers wonderful health benefits. The first all-natural insulin wine helps lower blood sugar. Insulin plant wine, organic, natural, ligtas at epektibong pampababa ng blood sugar. All-natural, FDA approved. Award-winning product. For your inquiries, orders, message Talk Life Channel's FB page. Call or text 0917-887-3227.
Alright, good evening po sa inyong lahat. This is another episode ng Hearts That Listen Wednesday. So kami po ngayon ang maghahalili pansamantala dun po sa mga magbatpuno at maginoo po nating mga host ng Wednesday. Ngayong gabi, hindi po ako mag-isa kasi tatawagin ko na po yung aking mga kasama. Walang iba kundi si Tita O and Teacher Daisy. Come on down. Bati tayo sa ating mga audience.
Hello, good evening po. Hindi po ito Friday na Hearts That Listen. Ano to, Hearts That Listen Wednesday? Kasi baka naguguluhan yung nanonood. Pero just the same, nandito po kami para magbigay sa inyo ng isang oras na kapupulutan nyo ng aral, lalawak ang inyong mga ang inyong pag-iisip at yung pananaw tungkol sa mga insights na i-share sa atin ng hindi lang isa, hindi lang dalawa, hindi lang tatlo, may bonus pang isa. Na mga guest natin na madaling tawagan at madaling hilingan para tayo ating makasama. Teacher Daisy.
Good evening! So ako ay from Monday and Sunday. Ngayon naman ay nasa Wednesday. So it's really nice to be part of this Wednesday HTL dahil alam ko na very interesting ang ating topic for tonight, which is about leadership. And katulad nga ng sinabi ni Tita O, so we hope that all the viewers will be with us. Kayo pong lahat ay sumama sa amin hanggang 9:30. And don't forget to like and comment later during our discussion. Follow Talk Life channel and at the same time engage and be with us tonight sa ating pong HTL. Good evening!
So, good evening. Live po tayo sa YouTube, Twitch, and FB. So, pwede po kayong mag-comment sa amin and we will try our best na basahin yung inyong mga comment. We will also try our best para i-shout out kung nasaan kayong lugar. So, inform nyo lang kami. So, since bago po kami dito sa Wednesday, gusto namin pasalamatan in behalf sa lahat ng gentleman ng Talk Live Channel. Salamat po sa paghalili po sa kami po yung inimbitahan yung humalili muna pansamantala sa inyong programa. Tita O, introduce na natin ang ating mga bisita ngayong gabi.
Oo. Ang i-introduce natin, suki na siya ng Hearts That Listen. Sila yung tinatawag naming the power of three. Bakit? Kasi yung mga kaalaman nila, hindi basta-basta nilang nakuha, pinag-aralan talaga nila, dedication talaga, pinagtiisan nila, pinagtiyagaan nila. Pero ang maganda, very willing silang i-share ng walang bayad. At yun ang naranasan natin sa kanila sa TLC. Talaga, sinusuportahan nila tayo. Yun ang kanilang advocacy. Ang ating power of three ay nanggaling sa John Maxwell team. Si Mirna Neri, si Veronica Padua, at si Eds.
Bati-bati po tayo.
Hello, good evening.
Magandang gabi.
Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat.
Magandang gabi from Angono, Rizal, Philippines.
Power of three.
Power of three.
Yeah.
It's nice to have
Power
you
of
back.
three.
Pero yung isa pa nating plus one, Teacher Daisy, paki-introduce mo yung ating plus one.
Yes, so syempre naman dahil meron tayong power of three
Ayan.
para maging force sila plus one. At ito naman ating guest sa isa ring isa na ring suki ng TLC because lagi ko siyang nakikita na naiimbita na rin natin and very generous siya sa kanyang time na every time we invite him ay talagang available siya. At para naman siya ang magbigay sa atin ng kanyang application ng ating pag-uusapan ngayon with regards to leadership and influence, ay atin na pong i-welcome si Sir Andy.
Yes, naka-mute po kayo.
Nakamute.
Naka-unmute naman po.
Good evening po, Sir
Yeah.
Andy.
Good evening. I'm very happy again to be with you guys, girls. Thank you for inviting me.
Sir Andy, saan po kayo connected?
Presently, ma'am, I'm connected with DOH, Department of Health, under the Philippine Institute for Traditional and Alternative Healthcare. So it's more of alternative medicines, ma'am, rather than the conventional. So I'm a corporate board secretary.
Yeah, okay. Ang team po natin ngayon ang topic po nating pag-uusapan ngayon ay all about leadership. Sa pananaw po ng mga taga John Maxwell, meron ho silang mga laws of principles tungkol sa leadership, and that is what we have to hear from them. Mirna?
Yes. So, good evening everyone. Magandang gabi and thank you for inviting us again. It seems na talagang suki na kaming tatlo dito and it is an honor and a pleasure and a privilege. Oh, ang dami nun. So tonight we'll be discussing one of our favorite among the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership from the book of John Maxwell of the same title. And guess what? That is the number one law or the number one irrefutable. As in irrefutable, nobody can refute it. Sabi ni John Maxwell, it is irrefutable. So the number one law is the law of influence. Yun. Actually, 12 yan eh. And it will take us 12 sessions to finish the 12. But since we only have one session, yung munang first and the most important and our favorite law. So what is influence and what is leadership? According to John Maxwell, leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. So he said that if you cannot influence the people around you, you cannot lead them. And the antecedent to influence is communicating that connects. So that, sabi niya, you cannot lead if you cannot communicate, of course. Because leadership is a relationship business. Diba? There's no such thing as leading somebody without establishing relationship with that person. Diba? So in a relationship, there is a communication factor. But communication is not just verbal or a non-verbal or just saying something per se. You have to connect. If you are not connecting, you are just like a clanging cymbal and a noisy gong. You are not communicating at all. So if you communicate, then you connect, then you can influence. That is the formula, and that is the only time that you can lead effectively. So yon. So communicate, connect, influence, lead. So leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. Okay, so
Yes.
yan. You have questions? So
Yeah.
for question ka agad, ano?
No, hindi, Tita Mirna, Ate Mirna. So sabi mo nga kanina, no, influence, that's why influence is the first. And I believe that everyone influences others. I mean, we influence each other. But then, nabasa ko to din kay John Maxwell. Sabi niya nga, you don't have to be in a high-profile occupation to be an influencer. Can you elaborate on that?
Yes.
Jo?
So long as you create impact on the life of the other person, you are an influencer to that person. Now, let me ask you a question. Ayaw nyo magtanong, sa ako na lang ang magtatanong. Who are your influencers? Di ba sabi natin, you do not have to be in a high position, so everyone is an influencer, even if a janitor, even if your youngest child is an influencer, you are an influencer, anyone, so long as you touch the lives and you connect to the life of the person, in front of you, you are influencing that person, good or bad. But why choose to be a bad influence? Hindi ba sabi ng mga millennials na katulad natin, alam niyo, BI,
Bad influence.
yan. So,
Bad
yun yung pag-uusapan natin. The good influence yung pag-uusapan natin. So, going back to my question, who are your influencers? Who influences you to be who you are today?
Parents.
Oh,
Sino
anyone?
naman
Go
gusto
to the
sumagot?
chat.
Si Coach Ed?
Anyone?
Si Coach
Chat.
Veron?
Oh.
Participants, mag-chat tayo kung sino yung mga
Yeah,
influencers
oo, sa
nyo.
comment
Yan.
section. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yung mga viewers, baka pwede ni silang mag-comment din.
Yes.
Yeah.
Opo.
Wala pa? Nagko-comment? Sige, pag hindi kayo nagtanong, nagsumagot, magtatanong ulit ako.
Si Coach Veron yata sasagot eh.
Greatest influence, yeah, leader.
Habang wala pa po nagko-comment ng mga audience natin, gusto ko lang pong i-shout out yung mga audience natin who are watching via YouTube, via Twitch, and sa FB. So sa FB, we have 13 audience. Sa YouTube natin, we have 4, and sa Twitch, meron po tayong isa. So shout out po sa mga taga Cebu who are watching right now, sa ating mga taga Pasig. So nanonood sa atin ngayon. Hello, good evening. Sa nanonood po sa Davao. Hello, good evening. So may audience po ba tayo from Manila? Asan ba? Merong isa. So hello po, good evening. So hello kay Coach Loretta, kay Irene Di Peralta Chi, kay Coach Eva, kay Coach Sheila, kay Coach Francis. Yan. Good evening po sa lahat. So right now we have 20 audience in the house. So yung live audience po natin, ini-encourage po namin kayo na kung sino po yung influencer sa inyo personally. So you can write down at the chat box, and then we will do an exchanges of questions then. Series of questions from our guests. So yes, Coach Daisy. Teacher Daisy, any
Yeah, I
question
think
po from our guests?
merong tanong si Ate Mirna, no? So I
Yes,
think kanina si Veron, she wanted to answer. Miss Veron, are you ready? Or yan. Okay. Or medyo nagkakaroon tayo ng problem with her connection. Yan. Are you okay, Miss Veron?
Yeah, can you hear me? Can you see me?
Yeah,
Yes,
oo.
we can hear you loud and clear, but the screen is not clear. But it's okay, Coach Veron.
So sorry about that. Bakit kaya?
Yan,
I'm the only
okay
one in the house.
Better
Okay
na.
na. Oo, I'm the
Okay.
only one here using the internet connection. That's why I'm wondering kung kailan nag-iisa ako dito saka mahina ang connection ko.
Okay na po, malinaw na kayo, Coach Veron.
Yeah,
It's
oo.
okay.
So, yeah, are you asking me about my influence? My greatest influencer?
Yeah.
Oo. Actually, that's a simple question but difficult to answer, no? Kasi parang ngayon, mahirap maghanap ng role models when it comes to leadership, right? Because we always listen to the news. We are aware of what's going on. But then again, sa akin siguro, ang leader na matatawag natin na influence ako is John Maxwell himself, I guess. Okay? Anyways, the author of what we're talking about right now, no? Kasi to be able to come up with lessons on leadership and about life, and to have such big following, no? Ang daming following, ang dami niyang na-encourage to actually share the vision to the other people. I guess that's a mark of a leader. Okay? Siya kasi yan eh. When he says something like, leadership is nothing but influence, that's him, actually. Okay? the way he is able to influence a lot of people all over the world, no? Hindi lang naman kami ang JMTR dito eh. Kalat yan sa lahat ng bansa. Meron talagang John Maxwell speaker facilitators, and to be able to do that, no? And to really have such big fans all over the world, to the point that you're going to Orlando, no, para lang makita siya, para lang magpapirma sa kanya ng mga books, para lang marinig siya. And it's not inexpensive, no, to be part of his team, but you're willing to pay the price, okay, time, resources, and all, just to acquire the knowledge that he has imparted to others. I guess that's the leadership, no? He's walking the talk, no? Lahat ng sinabi niya about leadership, he has those qualities. Okay? So, siguro sa akin siya ang pinaka greatest influence right now. Although, of course, we have other leaders who are notable also in the past, no? Marami naman tayong mga heroes din were leaders, okay? For one, yung building namin would be, I hope, would be named after Senator Jovito Salonga, yung among two, because he's actually the president that we never had, the one that got away, no? Spotless record, graduate of Rizal High School, true blue Pasigueño, no? In fact, he was buried in Pasig City Cemetery. Where in fact, he could be buried somewhere na mas, di ba, prestigious sa libingan ng mga bayani, and yet he chose to be buried in Pasig Cemetery. No? Talagang very humble beginnings and very humble up to the end. Spotless record, outstanding senator, penned so many legislations. So, siguro, if I would be a political leader in years to come, I would like to take after Salonga. Okay, he's also one of my greatest inspiration and influence. Okay, when it comes to leadership. Okay, sa akin silang dalawa. Okay.
Beron.
Ewan ko kay
Thank
Coach
you.
Mir. Yes, Tita Olive.
Beron, ayan, may question ako sa iyo. As a department
Yes.
head, as the department head of the English department sa Rizal High School, how do
Yes.
you influence your students and your co-teachers?
I started from scratch. I started from humble beginnings. I rose from the ranks. Hindi ako overnight naging head teacher. I started as a teacher 1 for 13 years. I got promoted to teacher 2 after 2 years, teacher 3 after a year, and after 2 years, master teacher 1 until I became nga the head teacher. So, since I know the plight, I know what it feels to be like a teacher, a regular teacher, a classroom teacher. I know the difficulties and the challenges of the teachers right now. Okay? So I am able to empathize with them. I know the hardships kasi. And so with that knowledge, I try to do what I can to the best of my ability just to help them out. Okay? Get them through all these difficulties. Pag ang teacher nagrereklamo sa trabaho, I completely understand, no? Naiintindihan naman namin sila. So what we do, we strategize. Okay? Kaya kami nandito sa posisyon is not just because we empathize with them or we understand, but we are here to help, okay? Dapat alam namin kung paano namin sila tulungan because leadership is all about character and it's all about the heart. Okay? I believe we are appointed in a certain position. Minsan hindi natin gusto or hindi natin pinangarap. Pero nilagay tayo doon for a reason. Okay? Maybe because there are skills or there are challenges we faced before. Kasi ako, I know it's decision making eh. Kung saan ka mahina, doon ka bibigyan ng trials ni God. So when in terms of leadership, I'm speaking now as the head teacher of the English department. Most of my challenges are really decision making. Okay? Kasi in the past, that is actually my Waterloo. That is what I find difficult. Kaya yung napansin ko, karamihan ng challenges ko tungkol doon. Probably God is trying to. And leading more than 40 plus teachers with different personalities, as different as the sizes of your fingers, fingerprints natin, as different as that, is really not easy. Okay? Pero because they share the vision, they are on board, and because they know that you actually are with them, no, it makes the work easier. Yun nga yung sinasabi ni Coach Mir, leadership is all about influence. Without influence, you have to step down. Bumaba ka na because you're not actually very effective anymore. As long as people believe in you, as long as they see that you have integrity and you can be trusted, and you are sincere, napaka-importante ng authenticity when it comes to leader. Dapat, when you say something, they see it, you show it. Okay? Only then will you be able to get their respect. Kasi respect is very important also in leadership. Once it's gone, trust, respect, what remains is just position. Okay? And we don't want to be hindi natin gustong susundin tayo just because we are in the position. Gusto natin susunod sila because they believe in us, they believe in our vision, naniniwala sila sa kakayahan natin, at may respeto sila sa atin. I guess that's the most important. So, siguro nakatulong sa akin yun. I started from scratch. I started from humble beginnings. I was not the head teacher overnight. So, I was able to gain insight at nakilala ko sila. Bawat isa sa kanila, kilala ko na even before I became head teacher. And it helped a lot. Okay? Alam ko na yung talents nila, weakness nila, yung strengths nila. So, it became easier on my part. Okay? Kasi nakamingle ko sila even before I got promoted.
Yeah, I think thank you, Ms. Veron, but just like what John Maxwell says, people respond to another according to their level of influence. I think that's how we really respond to one another. If the other person doesn't really have anything to do with our lives and how they lead, if we are not infected or affected, I think we will not be able to respond accordingly, hindi ba? But being an influencer, I think ay meron ka ding mga characteristic na dapat taglay, just like a leader. So when you influence somebody, sasabihin mo nga, di ba? A person of influence has number one, na-mention na kanina ni Miss Veron, yung integrity. Hindi ba?
Yeah.
But other than that, ay marami pa. Yes, so number one is integrity, and there are other characteristics na or ways para maka-influence tayo. Tanungin naman natin si Coach Eds. Pwede mo ba kaming bigyan ng isa na ways on how to influence people?
Specifically, I would like to raise this question also, no? Hindi lang siya para siya personally ma-process mo, especially sa mga viewers, if they are really influencing people. So, when do you say that you are able to influence others? Or when is the time that you are really able to effectively influence? Okay? Because our value and our significance rises when we influence others at a time when it is needed the most. So, when it is needed the most, meaning when the person is really at his pinaka down moment of his life, or at a moment na the person is ready to be taught, ready to be inspired by you. So that is one great moment that is needed to influence that person. So sabi ni John Maxwell, let me just share this very quickly. Sabi niya, leaders are readers. Not just literally reader ng libro. Of course, it's true, literally, but also figuratively, leaders read people. They are very good readers of people. So how do they read people? How do they read the people that they seek to influence? Okay, first of all, they know that perfect timing when to influence. Okay, first one is they sense teachable moments. So when the person is displaying an emotion or sharing a very deep personal issue of his or her life, and then he or she is sharing that with you. She's very being open with you, so that person is actually ready to be taught. Kasi the person is being vulnerable to you. So that's a good way, and that's a very perfect time to influence someone when the person is being vulnerable, being open with you in the emotional aspect. And then the second one is leaders sense that that is the best time to influence when that is a breakthrough time. Okay, breakthrough moment, meaning the person needs a breakthrough. And then the third one is, ito yung favorite ko, leaders, they sense the perfect timing to influence on catalytic moments. The moments and times when it's a catalyst moments. You know, meaning, for example, this I really experienced for real during the start of the pandemic. World Health Organization declared the COVID case all over the world became a global pandemic last year, March 2020. And then that was very catalytic. Yes. So during that time, people didn't know what to do. And because of the leadership of John Maxwell, he taught us, his coaches and trainers certified by him, he said, this is the best time to lead. You have been trained for such a time as this. So that one is a catalytic moment. And then that's the first ever moment that I offered my services, all my materials with the John Maxwell team for free. For how many sessions? Because yes, I am really paid with what I do, but that's the first ever time that I really shared group coaching, for free, because that's a catalytic time. That's the time when people are very open to be influenced by a
Yes.
positive leader. Okay.
So meaning Coach Ed's influencing, and which is part of leadership, doesn't really need to be, I mean, hindi siya talaga yung dinumero na you will just wait or you will grab. So the right timing is really important. Di ba? The right timing is really
Yes,
just like what you said,
correct.
just like what you said earlier, leaders are readers. So readers,
Yes.
no? So actually, you need to really know something like kapag teacher ka, ang dapat kilalanin mo muna yung estudyante mo bago mo siya maturuan. Hindi ba?
Correct.
Yes. So thank you naman, Coach Eds. So,
let me say something.
Tita O, do you have
Yeah.
any other questions?
Si Miss Mirna, she has something to say.
Yan. Okay, so tonight we're going to discuss with you the influence inventory. So yon. Para to have a clear focus on what we're trying to achieve for tonight, we're going to discuss with you the first leg of the John Maxwell Becoming a Person of Influence, which is discussing the leadership inventory, which one of them is the timing. When do we influence people? So let me share with you a quote from the book by J.R. Miller. This is how we can discern what influence is all about. So sabi niya, there have been meetings of only a moment which have left impressions for life, for eternity. No one can understand that mysterious thing called influence, yet everyone continually exert influence, either to heal, to bless, to leave mark of beauty, or to wound, to hurt, to stain others' lives. So that is influencing or exerting influence over the lives of the other person. You can make a person beautiful because of your influence over her. You can leave a mark. You can hurt the person because of your influence also. You can stain the person's reputation, or you can distract the person from becoming what he should be by staining his life. So that is still influence. So there is a caveat here. Since every one of us influence everyone's lives around us, so let us be careful and assess our influence inventory. So that is what we're going to discuss with you tonight. We are going to answer 6 questions in order for us to share with you how to gauge the level of your influence over the other person. So yun. So yun sabi ni Coach Eds kanina, it's about timing. That is correct. Now, the first question in assessing our inventory is, who do you influence? Diba? Who do you influence? Because who do you influence will determine the level of your influence towards that person. Who do you influence? Are you influencing leaders or followers? Diba? Are you influencing a positive or negative person? Diba? Are you influencing insecure or secure person? Are you influencing givers or takers? Now, depending on your answer to this question, you can gauge your influence. Okay, so question ulit. So, with these questions, can you now gauge who are you influencing and your level of influence? The level of scale, ito naman tayo, scale of 1 to 10. Are you influencing positive or negative person? Diba? Are you influencing givers or takers? Diba? So yun, so one of the the overused a term that we are using in John Maxwell is, I attract who I am, not what I want. So if I am this person, I am influencing this person also because I am attracting the person who is like me. Diba? So yan. So I would never belong to an organization that would have me as a member alone, according to Woody Allen. So these are the persons, or this is the organization that I would like to influence. Who do you want to influence? Answer goes, Madam O, who do you want to influence? Sino gusto mong i-influence?
Basically, syempre, yung first level is the people around us.
Who are they that you want to influence?
The people who live with us, basically, siguro followers, di ba? Pero they are givers too. Kasi kung positive ang influence natin, makikita natin yung pagbabago sa kanilang paningin sa buhay. At the same time, yung attitude, tsaka yung personality-wise, magbabago.
Right. So who do you want to influence? Coach Daisy.
Me, of course, family members. And kung work
Yes.
naman, ay syempre yung aking mga teachers and staff, or all those people whom I'm mingling with every day or working with.
Yes. Coach Maricon, who do you want to influence?
Siguro po ako po yung mga taong close circle with me. So, or pwede naman po yung mga katrabaho, mga kaibigan, and then mga dating kaklase. So, yun. Aside from, syempre,
Okay.
yung family ko, the nearest one.
Yan. So now we know who do you want to influence. The next question is, how do you influence them? Diba? How do you influence them? John Maxwell defines several ways of influencing other people around us. So sabi niya, one way daw to influence is by force. Pero according to John Maxwell also, according to the book, is how I influence the other people will determine how many, how long, and how effective my influence will over them will be. Diba?
Yes,
So it's
because that's the
matter-
effect.
Yan, oo, the how. How do I influence you will determine how long my influence will last. Kasi, di ba, influence is temporary. We have to sustain it. We
Yes.
lost it. We lost it in one click. We lost it. But how do we sustain it? It is through the manner of how we influence them. So he described several ways. Ayan. So let us know whether you can relate with these several ways. Sabi ni John Maxwell, we influence people, or other people influence other people by force. There is no choice but to follow me. Diba? Would you like that kind of influence? There's no freedom. There's no freedom.
Oo. Ma'am Yorna,
Yes po.
I'm a political scientist, ma'am. No, we try to distinguish, ma'am, what is an influence and what is power. So we really have to distinguish the two. As you mentioned a while ago, you can be influential but not necessarily being powerful. Okay.
Yes.
Now, in the leader, mama, as you mentioned, it's one of the component of leadership. You really have to influence. As a leader, technically, ma'am, especially if you held the position, if you hold the position, it depends in terms of the leveling. As an individual person, even you are not in power. I mean, you are not holding a position in government, let's say, which is the structure. You can be influential in some way, but not necessarily you are a leader. Take note of that. That's why we have this concept of bad influence, right? Or the PI. So they are not leaders technically. If you have the connotation of leaders, it's positive. I don't want to have a classification good leader or bad leader. No, there's no such as bad leader. If you talk about leadership, it's always good. That's the very concept of leadership. Okay,
And it's nice to hear
just what
from
I've
a
said.
government employee, huh?
Just I'm a political scientist, ma'am. No, I'm teach political science, and influence. I love Maxwell, but we don't technically fully subscribe on what he's saying. But I do understand where you're coming from. Anyway, just what I mentioned, ma'am. There are, for example, ma'am, people here in the Philippines who don't really hold positions in the government, but they are so influential. Every time that they say something, are actors, are actresses who are meddling in politics or meddling in government policy, though they don't have full knowledge about the issue, but once they speak up, people, it has an effect to the people, and
For
people now,
defense.
remember, you see the effect. The people now try to think, is this person telling the truth or he has a point? So once you try to have that effect to the person, to have second thought of what he believes is true, now you are now affecting him. Now you are influencing him. But again, unlike in powerful, being a powerful, whether you like it or not, you have no choice but to subscribe with that. So that's more of power. That's not influence. Okay. Once you force something to a person, the meaning of power. Power is the ability to make things happen and to prevent things from happening. What does it mean? You need force. That's a being leader. Most of the times, leader make an unpopular decision. But for the leaders thinking that this is the right thing to do, even it's not influence, it's not popular, rather, I have no choice but to implement this. So that's being powerful, and you're not going to be influential anymore. Because once you impose something to a person, it's not influence but more of power. Okay,
Right.
that's how we
I
do it.
think,
Actually,
Sir
that is the
Andy and,
lowest.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think Sir Andy and Miss Mirna, just to give follow up with what Sir Andy said, because we are talking about leadership, and when we say leadership, it really compasses a very broad areas and topics. But then what we want everyone to understand is that when you are a leader, you influence, and now we need to understand also how do we influence, just like what Sir Andy said, because when you are powerful, when you're a leader and when you're influential, they have different connotations. So it depends on how it is being interpreted by somebody. That's why kanina sabi ko nga, people respond to one another according to their level of influence. Hindi naman tayo susunod sa isang tao na walang effect sa atin yung pagkatao niya. Hindi ba? But then at the same time, a leader can say that he is a leader, but if he doesn't have a follower, is he a leader? Right? And then the same time, so when we define what influence is, it's the same. So we need to really go deeper. But what we want tonight, the viewers to understand is how what is the relationship between leadership and influence.
Influence.
Di ba?
Mirna.
Yan. And
So,
then,
if,
yes, Ma'am Mirna?
yeah. Sige, go ahead. Go ahead.
We try to delineate. What my point, ma'am, no? We try to delineate. Kasi we go beyond the boundary, right? We go beyond the boundary. Once there's a force, you don't influence anymore. You know, how we, there's thing here, as a person, sometimes we don't have really an intent to influence person, not unless you do have advocacy. Right? You do have advocacy that you would like people to be with you. But there are people, as a simple as it's, huwag na natin masyadong komplikaduhin ng ating example, sa buhay natin, sa kapitbahay lang natin. 'Di ba? Ngayon, alam niyo yung inggit, ay bakit siya ganito, bakit siya ganyan, 'di ba? Pag negative yung response doon sa inggit nila, na totally aasarin mo pa sila. Na meron ako, kayo wala, ayan. I think that breaks the influence. Pero if you going to show something to them na I really work hard, I'm being a good person, I was able to get what I want or what I need or what I have right now because I work so hard, I'm so honest. So even without telling that to the people, what we're doing, and every time, every day, they see you early morning, you go to work, and then you go directly home, walang kakaliwa, diretso sa bahay, nagiging matapat ng asawa. Yun ang nakikita ng tao, wow, sa buhay niya, dapat pala natin siyang tularan. There, you become already an influencer without imposing yourself to others, that you have to have an effect to them. Being silent, being just establishing yourself as a person, and you don't have an intent to make a role model, walang ganyan. Talagang nagtatrabaho ka lang na maayos, and you do have a good life. I think people will see that, and now people will try to be inquisitive. Ano ba nangyayari sa tao to? Ba't ganito siya? So yan, tapos magtatanong na yan, and then they try to emulate you later on. I think that's already an influence already without being a leader. Okay?
Yes, totoo yun.
Okay.
Because what we let other people see is yun yung na-appreciate nila sa atin. Kaya nga kanina, 'di ba, sabi nga natin, you don't need to be a high profile in a high profile occupation to influence others, because how they see you, and it could be your integrity, that's why they look up and they want to imitate you, hindi ba? It's because you are in a position for others to be to appreciate you or to take you as an influencer. Sino nga yung kanina may sinasabi si Mami?
Yeah. If I may just finish the series of how people would like to influence other person. Actually, the force is the lowest level, wherein if you try to influence by force, you will not influence the person for long because you are just using your power. After that, wala ka ng influence sa kanila. And the next is people would like to exert influence through intimidation. Again, that is part of the lower level influencing. Some people would like to manipulate. Some people would like to use their position. I am your boss. Diba? So you have to follow me. Some people, here, ito mukhang umaano na, persuade. Follow me, because there are things that will happen to you if you follow me. This is how I did it now before, and I would like you to have it also. And according to John Maxwell, the highest level on how you can influence people is if you can emulate respect from the people in front of you. Here, you do not have to manipulate. You do not have to say something. You just have to be who you are, because people will follow you because they want to follow you. With regards to the 5 levels of leadership, the positional leadership is the lowest level of leadership. The highest.
You don't use your position.
Yes. Leadership is not a position. It is
Nor
influence.
power.
nor power.
Yes.
It is influence. And for us to have the highest level of influence is when the people respect us because they see something in us that they really like, even us without us telling them, follow me, do this or do that. They will follow on their own because they want to follow. And how? How will that happen? How will that happen and how long will that happen and how many will follow you will depend on how high the respect you are, the people is giving you. So yun, the highest level of position, the highest level of leadership is when you have already gotten the respect of the person around you. Yun lang sabi niya. So
Yan,
mula
sige.
discourse, paakyat dun sa respecting. Yan. So
Sige
ganun
po,
niya
ikakat.
experience influence. Okay?
Opo. Cut ko po muna kasi medyo lumalalim na ang ating mga usapin with
Yes.
regards to
Oo.
persons of influence.
Mhm.
Public service muna po tayo. Yun pong this one is donating blood is one of the highest form of giving and loving. So ang dugong alay, dugtong buhay is seeking for the people who will help and donate blood to save lives. Be a donor. Contact them in their FB page or 0917-3122-751. So yung mga nangangailangan po ng dugo, you can contact this page ng Dugong Alay, Dugtong Buhay. And then another public our
Dull, uneven skin? Dark spots from acne? Fine lines that don't seem to go away? Sullen, haggard-looking skin from stress and other factors? Did you say yes to all of these skin problems? You no longer have to. This 2021, give your skin the care it deserves with Arian Glutathione. One Power Pack vial has glutathione, sodium ascorbate, gooseberry extract, elastin, and hyaluronic acid that can help regenerate your skin cells, improving your overall complexion. Start the year with a new you. You're just one sip away to glowing goddess skin with Arian Glutathione.
Okay, time check po natin is 9:17 in the evening. At meron po tayong nag-comments dito at sabi po ni Miss Julie Ann Villasis, yes, I am learning and new insights, transformation values table by John Maxwell. Wow, congratulations po. Actually, maganda po siya. And then, hello po sa mga bagong dumating, si Coach Edelor, hello. At yung mga bago nating audience in our YouTube. Hello po. And sa FB page. Yan, good evening po sa inyong lahat. Okay, tuloy na natin ang ating mainit na talakayan. Yes. Tita O, simulan mo na po.
Hindi. Tatanungin ko sana si Coach Eds. Paano niya ini-influence o ano ang kanyang insight about influencers? Doon sa positive note, hindi yung sa bad influence. Kasi sa theory ng John Maxwell, you become an effective influencer if you change lives, di ba? If you value others, if you have the integrity, if you understand people. Sa ano ang insight mo, Coach Eds?
About influencers? Do you mean ano po, mga social media influencers right now?
Siguro in the general sense of the word na according to kay John Maxwell at kung ano natin kasi hindi naman natin si John Maxwell yung socio-economic, hindi naman yun ang ano niya ang binabago niya yung pananaw ng tao tsaka pati values formation, yun ang trust ni John Maxwell.
Yes, so for me, I remember John Maxwell said, leadership, the position doesn't make the leader. The leader makes the position. Yes. So, leadership is really, yung nasabi ni Ma'am kanina na leadership is not just by the positional, very lowest, So, actually, when you influence people, kahit wala kang label as a leader, they see you as a leader. And then they can feel that energy from you. So, yun. Leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. So, the moment you influence people, you are being a leader. And now, I would like to also ask this question sa inyo, if you may answer it in yourself. Like, how many people do you influence? If you can think, okay, si Ma'am Daisy, or who would like to answer? How many people do you influence?
Million. As many as I can, I will do.
Yeah, that's
Even
right.
bata pa yan, na kahit na 2 years old yan. You know, I am a principal, but I'm also a teacher, and I'm teaching a 1-year-old to 2-year-old child. So can you imagine how can you influence a toddler? And how would you see yourself influencing them? And how do you know that you influence a toddler? So that's when the time that the child, you will see from the behavior of the child that there's a change.
Yes. They're following
Right?
you. Mm.
Yes. So whatever you're saying, when they respond to what you are saying, it means you already had an influence with the child. So
Yes.
if I will be asked how many do I influence, of course, I would want to influence as many as I can. Kahit na
Yes.
sino pa yan. Nakausap ko, makasalamuha ko, or makilala ko. My main purpose in life is always to inspire and influence.
Yan. Inspired to influence. That's the word.
Yeah. And then i-continue ko lang po yung point, no? The reason why I asked, how many do you influence? Like, as in right now, if you can gauge your influence right now, how many do you influence? So, I admire the answer of Ma'am Daisy kasi principal siya, and then the ripple effect of that is really endless, diba? So, sabi niya kanina, millions. Ma'am Daisy, what if I tell you your potential is to influence billions, not just millions? Diba? Because we are still in the process of evolving. So that's the reason why leaders don't stop to evolve and develop, because our influence, our leadership level now, and our leadership potential is may gap pa. And then the only way that we could bridge the gap, we could reach our potential, is when the leader is willing to change. When the leader is willing and has the desire to continually grow. So that's it. Yes.
And the concept of that is it doesn't stop. And it doesn't really go with the number. When you ask, when you say how many, it doesn't mean that you need to give a figurative number, right? When you say how many, it's really, yes, it's actually answering beyond the number itself.
Yan. And if I may
Okay,
add,
so meron pa ba tayo?
if I may add, dun sa how many do you influence? You know, Coach, you know, coaches, your influence transcend beyond your lifetime.
Yes.
Do you know that? Diba?
They live
And your influence transcend beyond those people that you actually meet.
Yes.
Because even if you don't meet this person, the person that you influence in front of you will influence the other person, and it will have a rippling effects even beyond your lifetime, and that is what we call legacy already. So you are creating a legacy when you are influencing the other person. Yan. Going back to you, Madam O.
Yeah, si Sir Andy, ano yung kanyang takeaway?
As ma'am, I really appreciate, of course, it's more of the John Maxwell, ma'am, I read the book, but of course, as a political scientist, ma'am, I really have a different perspective on how influence, relate to leadership. As I mentioned, ma'am, just an effect. It's just an effect. As mentioned by Ma'am Mirna, it's temporary. So that's very challenging on our part, ma'am, as a child, who grew up in a family or under the parents, and then here comes you, a teacher, right? You do have a different values. You have a standard of what
Yes.
values, and that will be against the values. There's a situation that it will be against the values that was taught by their parents. So how are you going to influence that? In the sense that there will be a compromise. In influence po, there will be a compromise. The one who's being influenced, by the parents, and the one who's being influenced by the teacher, both of them has an effect on the life. Kaso itong bata na to, ma'am, yung pinapalaki siya, impulsive kasi, ma'am, 'di ba? Ito ang dapat natin gawin. We try to guide, we try to mold the child, okay, on what we would like them to be. Okay? Kasi meron pang period yan na talagang kailangan natin i-mold yung character nila. Once we are sure that they are molded, we just let them go. A good example, they go to school. Kayo mga teachers, tayo po teachers po tayo, no? So here comes us, So how are we going to be influencer? So, once we say new values to them, and then that's not what they grow up or being familiar with, kasi that's their life. And here comes the values that we're talking about to them that they have to apply to themselves. Yun, ma'am, mag-iisip na yung bata tama ba yung sinasabi ng teacher ko? Ito na yung impluwensya na sinasabi. Pero again, influence in the end of the day depends on the person. Kasi kapag yan inadapt ng pag niyakap ng bata yan, ay tama si teacher, hindi ka lang influencer. You turn to be powerful na because you are now in the life of the child. So yun po.
Yes.
Ganun ang influence, parang impact lang siya. Ngayon, nasa tao po yan kung susundin niya o hindi niya susundin. Kapag sinunod po niya, yung impact mo, powerful ka na. Okay, that's what I like to try to distinguish. So, as a leader, as an influencer, temporal lang ang influence. So, it's up to us how, yung challenge and how we going to make it, continuing, sustain it. So, yun po yung ating, yung ating challenge sa buhay. Gaya na sinabi po, na-mention yung social influencer ngayon na sinasabi nila sa social media. Are you going to consider them as a leader?
No. Depende sa kanila kung sino sila.
Nakikita po natin, marami na yan tunay names, no? Madami na nila po Pero yun, kung influence lang po talaga ang or isa sa mga component natin para masabi natin leader yung isang tao. Itong mga social media influencer na to. Okay? Na trying to educate people in whatever, and then trying to convince them to join their cause. Are we going to consider them already as a leader? So, yun po Kaya, gaya na sinabi ko po, merong distinction between influencer and a leader. Though influence is one of the component of being a leader. Kasi pag pag leader ako, meron tayong share gold, at ikaw nagsusubscribe ka doon sa share gold natin, at nabago yung buhay mo. Technically, meron na akong effect sa'yo at gusto mong baguhin yung buhay mo, at nagsusubscribe ka doon sa paniniwala ako, meron na akong epekto sa'yo. I'm being influenced, being influencer to you, or I'm influencing already you. Yan po. So, there. That's my takeaway. We just have to distinguish the two. Thank you.
Ma'am Myrna.
Yeah. Can I say something? Can I say something? Oh.
Yeah, Coach Bill.
Hello. Yeah. That's actually, hello? Yan, naririnig na po ako.
Yeah.
Can I, yeah. Actually, maganda yung tanong ni Sir, no? Yung sabi niya, yung bang mga media influencers are considered leaders, no? Actually, that is the fifth question of John Maxwell dun sa dinidiscuss namin ni Coach Mir kanina pa. May tanong dun why do you determine what you do? Okay? Bakit ba nila ginagawa yon? Why are they doing it, no? Kasi yung why mo, yung motive mo, would actually determine ba't mo ginagawa yon. So to answer that, actually the first question to ask is, what is your motive for doing that? Okay? Are you doing that just to sell, just to earn, or are you doing that because you have an advocacy? That would actually answer whether you're doing it as a leader, or it's a bread and butter for you, or it's a means to earn an income. It's an income generating kind of parang endeavor, okay? Kasi sabi ni John Maxwell din, right motives daw of doing something are crucial because leadership functions on the basis of trust. Okay? Because the people trust you. Okay? So, yung motive na yon is actually parang ano lang fleeting lang yan eh. Motives could actually change depending on the situation. Example, sige, we're talking about media influencer. For example, there is somebody endorsing a certain product or reviewing a beauty product, 'di ba? They influence buyers too, consumers, ano? Yung magde-determine on what is really the motive of, can you call them leaders? Actually, it's more of like yung income aspect, economic aspect of it, 'di ba? Siguro in their industry where they belong. Kung nandun siguro yung nanonood ay makeup artist and would like to know the ins and outs of yung industry niya, would follow that, okay? Kasi it covers different aspect of life. Leadership is not just one aspect. Hindi naman yung leadership kailangan malalim. It has different levels in our lives, no? So, actually,
Ma'am,
motives
just to-
could vary. It could be,
Excuse me, Ma'am Veronica, isn't it we do have
Yes.
classification of leadership, like we have economic leaders, we do have spiritual leaders,
exactly,
right?
yeah.
Right?
Yes,
Mhm.
yes, right. And so, we're talking about, yun nga sa media influencers, no? So, yun nga, ang sabi ni John Maxwell, ano ba yung motibo mo for doing that, okay? Can you be considered a leader? Depends on your motive, okay? Kasi sabi nila, yung what you do, what you say, actually shows your character. Kasi yung influence natin comes with responsibility too, okay? Example, yung mga nasa business of influencing, yung mga napapanood natin sa mga YouTube or different platforms. Sometimes we see them doing something. Syempre may perks yung ginagawa nila. Etong sa atin may perk din to eh. Ano ba yung perk natin? We teach a lot of people. Nakikinig sila sa atin, natuturuan natin sila. Sila din may perk, okay? Pero always remember, if you are to be called a leader, dapat hindi lang yung perk, yung responsibility that goes with it. Remember, whatever your content, whatever you say, mayroong impact sa tao. Whether positive or negative. So, yun ba, importante yun to determine whether you're really leading people into something, ano? Kasi leaders could be good and bad. Hindi naman natin diniscuss yung kind of leader. Pero dito sa discussion natin, it goes without saying that we're talking about good leaders. Okay? So, I guess it's about knowing your motive for doing something. What is really your motive? Your motive is sometimes defined by your character. Okay? So, kung puro bad yung motives mo, it's because of character. Okay?
Yes.
And then,
So I think,
iba
Coach Veron, if I
responsibility.
may cut, yeah, if I
Yes,
may cut,
oo.
thank you for that. So I think let's just go back to the main theme that we have for tonight, which is actually leadership, influence in terms of leadership. I would just I think for me, so Tita O, kung meron kang takeaway or last words, I would just like to reiterate that a person of influence, because we are talking about leadership in the essence of leading people. So it's not only like having followers who will just follow you if you are a social media influencer or whatever. But what we want the
Exactly.
viewers to know is that a leader, yes, we want to talk about more on the person of influence in terms of number one, of course, a person of influence has integrity. 'Di ba? So, binibuild niya yung sarili niya, kaya yung mga tao nga, 'di ba, as a leader ay magfo-follow sa kanya. And then a person of influence nurtures also other people. So, eto naman yung, siyempre kung may influence ka, hindi lang sarili mo. So, yung nakikita mo ng mga tao na nililid mo, ay nurture mo sila. Meaning, para kang nagpapalaki, no? Para kang nagtatanim, tapos palalakihin mo yung plant mo. And then, a person of influence also has faith in the people that he's leading. Di ba, meron kang, anong tawag dyan? Hindi naman yung pananampalataya ko, hindi. Paniniwala o tiwala doon sa tao na mga nililid mo. And a person of influence also listens to people. Di ba? So, hindi lang sarili mo yung pinapakinggan mo. Nakikinig ka rin doon sa mga tao na nakapaligid sa'yo at nagpa-follow sa'yo. And a person of influence understands people. So, when we say understands people, you don't look at yourself always the first. But you always need to look at the totality or the whole being of a person so that you could lead and you can influence them. A person of influence also navigates other people, connects with people, hindi pwedeng ano ka. Kaya nga yung kanina tanong ni Sir Andy, di ba? Itong mga influencer, bakit sila ang dami nilang follower? Kasi nakakonect sila eh. 'Di ba? But in a different manner, in a different way, hindi ba? So kaya sabi niya nga kanina, ang leaders, meron tayong economic leader, may spiritual leaders, and then a person of influence also empowers people. And the last is reproduces other influencers. So once you're a leader, when you lead
You
people,
are an
your main
influencer.
goal is also to produce another leader, right? And that's what we want everybody and everyone to really understand. Napakalaki, napakalawak, hindi ba? Napakalawak ng topic or ng theme about leadership.
Leadership.
Diba?
So, actually,
At lahat tayo ay may iba't ibang pananaw sa pagiging isang leader. But we appreciate everyone, your thoughts for tonight, and even yung ating mga viewers na nagbigay ng comments nila sa ating comment box. So thank you so much. And I think time really is not enough for us to cover all and answer all the questions. But I think, this is really, a good discussion. Tita O?
Yan.
Yeah, ako sasabihin ko lang is a true leader values other people. Kaya siya nakaka-influence. And for this, gusto ko sanang magpasalamat Myrna, Eds, Veron, Andy. You have something to say before we end the broadcast?
Yan. Ako muna. So, just to add to what has been said, yung the characteristics or the values that was mentioned, that is how John Maxwell defined ways on how we can increase our influence. Now, how to become a person of influence is really become an influencer. Those are acronyms. So easier to remember. If you remember the influencer, I is for integrity, N is for, nurturing, F is for, diretso
Faith.
yun hanggang sa R.
Yeah.
Influencer is an acronym on how we can increase our level of influence. That's the second part of the discussion, supposedly.
Thank you po, Ma'am
Okay,
Myrna.
Coach Meron.
Coach Eds.
Coach
Okay,
Ed,
so
Coach Ed.
yes, for parting words, when it comes to leadership, we just, for all the viewers, for me, leadership is really just about bringing out the best in people. It's about lifting up the people's lives from one step to the next level. So that's it. It's
Yeah.
about
Veron?
Thank you.
Yeah, mine is a prayer by Peters. This is a good prayer for leaders. Ang sabi niya, God, when I'm wrong, make me willing to change. When I am right, make me easy to live with. So strengthen me that the power of my influence exceed the authority of my possession. So what a beautiful prayer for leaders, no? So that's what I really want everybody to remember. Okay?
Sir Andy?
Yan lang po.
Thank you. Sir Andy, nakamute ka po.
Nakamute ka po.
Ayan. With me, ma'am, as I mentioned a while ago, you establish, yourself. You cannot be an influencer, you cannot be a leader, if you are not able to establish yourself. So I think you mentioned it a while ago, Ma'am Myrna, about the influencer. In fact, that's the quality of being a leader. So try to possess that, but without having malice or without have an intent to be popular, to profit from your influence. I think that's where it all started. Have that good intention that you would just want to establish something to yourself, and the rest will follow. It will be radiates. Ganun lang po yun eh. Pag ikaw mabuting tao ka, nakikita nila tama ang ginagawa mo, magra-radiates yan, makikita ng tao yan. Without doing anything, without saying anything, you turn to be an influencer. And once people subscribe to you, and they believe in you, you gain their trust, that's the time that you step now to the concept of leadership. Okay, thank you.
Maricon?
Thank you, Sir Andy.
Yan.
Alright, welcome,
Grabe,
ma'am.
ang galing. So, gusto kong pagpasalamat sa mga guests natin, si Ma'am Myrna, si Ma'am Ed, si Ma'am Veron, and Sir Andy. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you.
Gusto ko pong pasalamatan din yung ating mga hosts ng Wednesday, ng Hearts That Listens Wednesday, yung ating mga gentlemen, si Coach Brad Bong, si Bro Hens, si Pastor Arnel, and then sino pa ba, si Coach Francis. Baka may makalimutan ako, but thank you so much sa pagbigay niyo sa amin ng opportunity to host this day habang wala po at busy po kayo ngayon. So hopefully we look forward po on the Wednesday next week with our Gentlemen of Talk Live channel. So maraming
Hindi na
salamat
women,
po.
gentlemen.
Hindi na women, gentlemen. So gusto ko rin pong pasalamatan yung lahat ng live audience natin who participated with us, especially those 19 people in the house. So thank you so much from YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Maraming salamat for watching with us. At yung mga po magre-replay, yung mga team replay, maraming salamat po for watching, and hopefully, mag-message pa rin po kayo, chat pa rin kayo sa amin kung ano po yung mga learnings na nakuha nyo, takeaways, mga gusto nyo pong i-comment sa amin, at gusto nyo pong i-topic namin every Wednesday about leadership. So pwede po yun para po mabasa po ng mga host po talaga, ng main host po ng araw na to. So we look forward, and hopefully you can watch Small Business on Thursday and Hearts That Listen Thursday edition. And then watch din nyo po yung Shift Happens on Friday na sinusundan po ulit ng Hearts That Listen Friday. Kami po yun with Tita O and Coach Resvan and the rest with the team. And also, continue to watch and support Talk Live channel. So for all nanood, maraming salamat po from our bottom of our heart and to all our guests. And with my partner, with Teacher Daisy and Tita O, good evening po sa lahat and God bless.
Bye.